I'm Katie Sullivan. I am the founder and creator of Milestone Gifts. Milestones is a company that I'm thrilled to run and passionate about. It supports women as they navigate life's milestones with our thoughtfully curated, fun, and informational gift boxes and complementary products. So I'm super excited because we're in the soft launch build phase where our first product is going to be launched locally and then to my hot list, and it's called the Bloom Box. So this is a box designed specifically with caretakers in mind first, taking care of their 8 to 14-year-old girls who are entering or experiencing puberty. And it marries up three things. There was a complete lack of this type of product out in the market. So I am my own avatar because I needed this more than anything for my 11-year-old and my soon-to-be 9-year-old girls. It takes the concept of having a little Cliff Notes version guide for me as the mom. How do I prep myself? How do I feel confident about having these discussions? And it brings together like all of the self-care products that she'll need that I can feel confident and happy about her using, made in the US or sustainable type companies or really well formulated products that don't have a lot of chemicals in them. And then it puts that into an elegant keepsake box with a book that she can also self-guide through to ask me questions, and puts it in this really nice celebration of information. The goal of our company is to make the moms and the daughters feel confident, prepared, and empowered to embrace the changes ahead. I have this, my mother, who's a librarian, circa 1974 copyright date on it. That is the book I grew up with, and it was literally just handed to me. And it was like, yeah, go read this. And when you have a period, then we'll talk. And when that happened to me, I got a gigantic, like postpartum style, I call it a haystack, this thick, like this long pad. And that was my introduction to womanhood.
What are you most proud of so far?
Where we are as a brand. I'm building it. I've been sort of the silent watcher in the background at Camp Inc. meetings, but I'm really starting to come out of my shell, get more involved, and really take off. So milestone wise, ironically, that's the name of our company, but our vision is established, right? Like my vision is to not just create a period box, but create a company and a brand that is focused on supporting women through life's milestones. So there's so many follow-on products, and I'm so excited to engage with our community more and build the community because I want to know what milestones are important to people. I mean, you can probably think of 20 of them right off your head that are major milestones for women. And when I thought of the name and the idea for this, I just immediately jumped right in, started sourcing everything myself. I have a little work to do on the owner's model because right now it's just been my husband and myself building everything from the ground up. And I got people involved right away because after reading Ryan's book, after reading Ready, Fire, Aim, and several other business books, I was like, all that matters right now is just seeing if there's a viable product here in a market that wants it and sell. So I created these little, I call them Tupperware market research parties, where I invited all of my friends, family, and my daughter's friends' moms over, and I laid out a bunch of products and we sort of let them pick and customize their own boxes so that I could see like which of these categories of products did they gravitate to, what was their price tolerance, and so I really just loved sort of talking to them and sharing stories. And I have so many fun videos of that and photos of those 3 events that we did. And we sold about 35 boxes, everywhere from a $35 box all the way up to a $389 box. So that's one of our major milestones, was getting that validation and then going ahead and creating the product and ordering inventory, as you can see behind me, to be able to sell our first 500 boxes, which is what we're in the midst of launching right now. A milestone I'm just proud of for myself is I put this out on the Facebook group. I am not a social media person. And so I've had to really jump headfirst into the cold water of Instagram and Facebook and just getting out there and figuring it out and asking questions on Cap Inc. And people have been so helpful. So getting that established is another mini achievement. And I love Ryan's statements of like, each little step matters, like, measure every little bit and find the easiest yes that you can along the way. I've loved working with our suppliers that I've all self-sourced, like in the US and Asia. My husband's like, who are you texting right now at like 1 a.m? I'm like, it's my ladies over in Asia. We're chatting right now and they send me pictures of their holidays and their weddings. So we're friends now. So I've made some friends across the world. Those are the ones that stand out.
How are you building your audience? Like, you had the in-person parties and that's fantastic. The friends and family, that's always a great start. But how are you doing doing as far as building your social media audience?
Locally, I'm trying to use my network, but my network spans all over the US just from having lived in different places and worked at multiple different companies, using my hot list as a primary source of the email contacts and then referrals, word of mouth. And then I'm going through the traditional approaches with Instagram and Facebook using the build your story content. And I'm focusing on trying to include 3 types of content that I got from another sort of training material called the Product Boss. It resonated with me. They said have content that is all 3 things: conversational, core, which would be like about your brand, and then calendar based. So those 3 C's like really helped me kind of think through when I'm planning out my content calendar, and doing short videos of things that are adding value to people, like tips and tricks for getting your kids to open up to you or whatever is relevant to the topic that is at hand, right? And then I'm just excited too about some things locally, like with channel partners. So trying to build our audience through things like working with school districts that have these things called Project No, or types of trainings for 5th graders and up about their adolescence and sexual health education. And then other groups like Girl Scouts or Girls on the Run. So working through those channels to get exposure and get the story out there about who we are and what we do and what we can provide. And it's interesting because a lot of those groups say there's funds to be had to be able to support this type of education. And even in Girl Scouts, helping subsidize the cost for the families that would participate in that. And I'm working on trying to get with curated.org, which again, all of this is very focused on this one Bloom box at first, but then we'll grow into a much bigger brand that has all of these different types of milestones covered. And, the one I always bring up is like the loss of a child or things that might not always be fun and cheery, but are challenging. And I always say like the road might be rocky, but having that support network, someone, whether it's you for yourself or a friend or family that wants to be a thoughtful giver and an informed giver, right? Like that's the whole point about our unique guides. Like this is the one that, I wrote and provide for the Bloom box, but having that ability to feel confident in supporting someone beyond the moment is really what our brand is all about.
You have 500 of these boxes. How many have you sold already?
Just the 36. My whole plan was I just got done building the website, all myself through Shopify with the help of many of the Cap Inc. members. I took the password off like yesterday. So I'm just going to be getting that out there. And then my plan is to really build up my content and our audience in the month of February, and then have this like soft launch kind of going on in the background, continuing with the local people, and then sort of a more full-blown launch in March, which happens to be Women's National History Month. So it couldn't be more perfect.
Now, I sent over a weird, wonky fill in the blank, kind of looking for like a mental transformation, some sort of shift you've made along the way. Do you have anything?
Mine is very much focused on where I came from and what sort of drove me to where I am now. So I used to think that I needed to climb the corporate ladder to be a leader, but now I know that I don't need to climb someone else's ladder. And I've gone from this rule following middle manager to creating my own rules and growing at this exponential rate daily, which is just what I'm so passionate about. And this joy beyond what I could have even imagined, even through the hard things. I don't have to play by somebody else's rules, but realization that I had in the last 12 months that led me to leave a very well-paying corporate job to do this full time. This is my passion. And so I'm looking forward to the day when this becomes the full time again, because I know how gratifying it can be to really just spend all your energy and all your focus on what is meaningful to you and impactful to others.
You're self-funding for now. At some point, going to do a pitch deck?
I have done so many pitch decks for my prior life, so I can't wait to do my own. I haven't yet, but I have dabbled in some of the pitch meetings. I come to all the pitch weeks. I love watching them. Everyone does just such a phenomenal job putting everything together and presenting, which I know is tough to do. I do plan to do that probably in the next cycle or two, because I'm interested in raising some funds to just really be able to expand our marketing efforts. And then obviously like working capital for depending on how supply and demand goes, like being able to manage that as effectively as possible.
Long term, are you building this ultimately to sell? Is this something that you want to run? Is this your ride or die for life?
I would love to build this to be just a household name go-to for things that people grow with the company. They go through different milestones with us. But ultimately, I would love to achieve financial freedom for my family and my 4 kids. And my husband and I would love to be able to give back. I even joked, I was like, I'd love to just be like Jason or or Greg or Ryan, where you're out there giving back to the community, like-minded people building the same types of things. I have been very fortunate to have some wonderful mentors throughout my career, and I really do want to be able to give back in the way that I have one in particular individual who has just made an incredible company, and he's about to exit. He's private equity backed. It's been turned over multiple times, but he's at a place where once he's done, he's like, I'm just going to be able to give back, and that's what I want to focus on. And that's like my goal. Like, I want to get there and just be in a place where I don't have to think about money and my family is taken care of, and I can just focus on helping others.
What is your favorite thing so far about being in the incubator?
The content is invaluable. The people are incredible. The experience is, to some who may never experience it, it's just indescribable. When you get into a group where you can feel a groove, I feel like you have to be part of it to live it and to take action. And like I said, I've kind of been in the wings quietly. I love that Stan hasn't called me out too harshly, because I am here, I am listening, I am absorbing, and I am taking action. And I'm just so ready to break out and be involved and like build with this team. So I think the community environment is one of my favorite things. And I am looking forward to being able to come to one of the events that are in person. Unfortunately, I can't come to the CapCon this year due to conflicts with our schedules, but look forward to maybe one of the group sessions with Ryan or the team.
Do you have a piece of advice that you would like to pass on? What would you pass along to them?
I think the thing that has resonated most with me is just take action. I know it's like so cliche. I'm sure I'm like the millionth person that has said that, but every little step counts, even if you feel like it's in the wrong direction, because I feel like you don't always know what doors will open unless you put yourself out there. And I'll reiterate that when I left that corporate job that I felt was so great and I was living on top of the world, even though the experience was a mental roller coaster of ups and downs, 20 other doors opened. In addition to me wanting to just really go forth and build my own thing. So I've ignored most of those, and I'm trying to build this because value yourself, value your experience, and don't feel like your inexperience is a roadblock, because there's ways to overcome all of that. And I think that's what this community has shown me, is that I'll call them like little fast tracks. Like, it takes a lot of research to find who's the right marketing agency and what's the right app to use and all of that. And I think people let that paralyze them sometimes. Just putting your foot in the water and then jump right in and get wet and get messy and get going.
What drives you, Katie?
I am driven by the love that I have for my family and my kids, and building a good world for them to live in, and just along the way helping them become kind, respectable human beings, and then seeing who else I can help along the way. So I've been extremely blessed and fortunate in my life, and I know that. I'm so grateful for that. And I love that this type of experience allows me the flexibility to live my values and put myself out there and hope that others will be interested to follow.